Welcome back, everybody, to Europa Universalis 5 here with episode 2 with French Copte. As we are in July of 1340, currently building our gravel road to Montbazon from Dole, which did kind of break the bank. We are down to 10.76 ducats. We are making 3.25 currently. Those numbers do severely decrease around January, though, each year. We do have 50% nobility support, 64% from the clergy, and 52% from our peasantry. So overall, our estates are reasonably happy. Our nobility is building a charcoal kiln in Baum, which, to be fair, I don't really understand. Like, we have a lot of coal already. Okay, I don't know if we have a lot of coal. We actually have a balance of zero, but we have a dedicated coal mines and coal production, I guess is what I meant. Now, we are getting closer to being able to declare war on Lorraine, humiliating a rival. The issue with that for us, anyway, is that they are also allied to our ally down here, Benoit, or Dauphine as it looks there. Which means, being an offensive war, I would imagine they would defend Lorraine. Now, we are about ready to be able to start building a spy network on St. Cloud, which has Nectal and Montbéliard as allies. All of those would be relatively easy for us to take, and I don't think we would even need our allies for that. Our one son, our only son, as most normal people would say, is now 16 years old. However, he does live in Burgundy. So Philippe de Lord de Burgundy. Ooh, not sure why he's nicknamed the Lord, but I am a babbly buffoon and an entrepreneur. He does kind of look like he, thinks very highly of himself. He's a 45 at Admid, 30 Diplo, 41 militarily. Just turned 16. Will turn 17 in November of this year. So we're not able to marry him or put him in our council because he is over here in Burgundy. Or in the Duchy of Burgundy, where they're building a tailor's guild, although they're also building a sergeantry. Now, he is also the heir. So he's the heir to Burgundy. He's the heir to French Comté. He's also the heir to Artois, which is up here. And is this tiny sliver of land that goes out into the English Channel. So I'm very interested. I think maybe with Poland, I played for a little bit when we had a union with maybe it was Galicia or Bohemia, but I haven't played very much with that in EU5. I didn't play a whole lot with it, to be honest, in EU4 either. We have 218 days remaining on the road, as we don't have enough lumber. And that is my biggest gripe about them building this. Is it's going to take a lumber. It's going to take lumber we don't necessarily have. Lumber, you can see we're already having a problem with here in the Parisian market. And while I understand the fact we didn't have coal, and you're like, man, we're about out of coal, we need more coal in the market. I get that. I can respect that. I can understand it. But to do it at the expense of not having enough lumber when we ourselves don't have the ability, well, I guess we could build like a lumber mill, but we don't have, a natural resource, an RGO of lumber, I suppose I should have said. Is just a little bit maddening. Because again, it does slow down our ability to build the road. We have plenty of sand, we have plenty of masonry, we just don't have the lumber. Now, none of these buildings or none of these spy networks would help fix that, right? They have beeswax, which is not, an important good, sturdy grains, and then they have livestock. So again, no lumber to be had there. Simply an expansion of our territories, festivities. This year looks to be such a prosperous year that several Countess G III competitive advisors have suggested that as a gesture of goodwill, Her Royal Highness should celebrate by arranging various festivities for the locals. We can lose 11 ducats, or we could just lose 5 prestige. we'll lose the money, we'll gain the prestige, and we'll gain the support of the commoner. You know, I don't know that we needed to do that, right? Maybe that was the wrong thing to do, but I also feel like many times, you know, your estates do not, you know, get along very well with you. So potentially being able to say, hey, here we are, we're going to try to make sure everybody's on side, everybody's positive, everybody's, you know, pulling in the same direction here for the very start. It's not a bad thing. I think we can potentially, because we have 20. Yep, we can create a Casus Belli now. Yeah, we're just going to destroy the enemy. We don't need to build a spy network anymore. Because it's a one county country, right? So we don't need to worry about creating another spy network. I might sneeze here in a moment, so I do apologize for that. You know, knock on wood, I've actually, as the Holy Roman Empire influence grows, not glows, sorry. Knock on wood, I've mostly avoided, you know, the cold and flu season so far, which, you know, is pretty impressive. They are now building a road as well. Hey, don't copy my ideas. So I was just thinking of the fact that, you know, since we're Capetian, technically, well, not technically, I mean, we were at one time the rulers of France, right? So even though now it is the Valois who sit on the French throne, in theory, maybe that's the playthrough, right? Start in Burgundy, then eventually reconquer France, you know, for the House of Capet and the Capetian dynasty. Be an interesting one. I still think, you know, if I could get Burgundy to be independent and then create, you know, the Kingdom of Burgundy and then a Burgundian overseas empire to compete with France, England, you know, likely Spain, Portugal, the Dutch. That would not be bad. Although I guess theoretically, if I push further to the north and the east, there may not be much of a Dutch empire to be had, right? If it's all part of Burgundy. So as we get into 1341, I'm curious to see how much the economy drops. Because it has every year. Like every year when we get in January, the economy drops, even though we're not really paid for food. Of course, now that we've got the peasants and the nobility is kind of neutral, the peasants and the clergy are so happy, maybe it'll drop less, right? Our legitimacy is up to 83. The Duke of Burgundy is, well, he's out. I think he's at war. Yep, they're 68% winning against the English. England's got no men left. Literally no men left in the Kingdom of England. 143 left in the Kingdom of France with 84 ships. France has lost 25,372. England's lost 37,000. Yeah, France is definitely going to win. This is not going to be a true 100 Years' War, right? And you can kind of see why, you know, it's hard to maybe play as some of these smaller nations around France because 143 men and 1,000 men in 1341. That is just, that's mind-blowing numbers. Like, I am very happy here, the fact that I could call on almost 5,000. Now, that's sad, I know, but it's also the truth. I'm very happy about that. They could call it 140,000. Burgundian independence is going to be very difficult. They just ran through England, and England's got 7 times my army and a much bigger navy. Now, to be fair, what I will say historically is if the French had been maybe a little bit better led militarily, you know, and, as a nation, they probably should have beaten England just because of the population differences. See, there we go with each month we have lost, essentially one, well, maybe not a decade, but like a decade and a half. So, 2 quarters to 2 dimes each month. Well, who are you? The Siege of Dover. Interesting. So yeah, like I was saying, I don't know how we're actually going to get our independence. I mean, I know how you created independence movement, try to get enough countries to join you, etc. I was hoping this conflict would go on for a little bit longer or would at least be a little bit more even-sided, because then I could be like, hey, I'm going to try to rise up while France is distracted, score enough to get our independence, and then go from there. And that might be what we still end up trying to do. It's just like, going to be very difficult to actually achieve that now. 48 days left of the charcoal kill that bomb, 61 days for the gravel road. Well, now 60, I guess. And yeah, like I said, the fact that they are allied with that one doesn't bother me. Cologne doesn't bother me. This is the one that bothers me. How we were allied with them first, and somehow they came in and they allied with Lorraine as well. So that's just is there a map that, like, in CK3 it lets you see Holy Roman Empire grows. Trying to see if there's like a way to see on the map like the different kingdoms. I don't see it there. See if there's a way to create the historical kingdom of Burgundy. 23 days left on the gravel road, 9 days on the charcoal kiln. And again, like, I don't mean to criticize the game for allowing the nobility to build. I think it's good. I think the way the taxes work is good. It's just like, that wasn't something we really needed, right? Because we already had the coal mine and we already had the coal extraction. So it's just like, I get it, but I do get it from the sense as well, though, that, we had, limited options, right? It's not like we're a massive nation that, you know, has all this land where we can go around picking and choosing. So I could also understand that aspect. I don't know that this episode is going to have a whole lot going on just because. All right, I want to pause just very briefly. So right now, proximity is 69% and control 69%. Okay, since the road's about ready to be done, and I know it's not going to happen like overnight, I just wanted to see, you know, what change potentially that would bring. So essentially, we could only trade with Paris, apparently. Okay, that's a little disappointing. Oh, they built a road to Gray. Okay. %71% positive war score for the Duchy of Burgundy. We are slightly weaker than them. Which again, like, that's my husband and my son, so I'm not really that worried about being weaker than them. Weaker than the French, weaker than some other people, yes, that would concern me. Weaker than the Duchy of Burgundy, no, not so much. So once we get to July, I think I'll take a look at the control and see if it's at least maybe trending a little bit more positive now that the roads are going to have been down for a couple months. The last drop. For a long time, our diplomats have been wary of... Okay. Let me... allow me... allow me to say... This is me. Jean Capet, or Jean the Third Capet, that is who I am. That is my character. So, now let's read the message. For a long time, our diplomats have been wary of Countess Jean Capet III. Our diplomats have been wary about ourselves and her tendency to insult everyone and anything. They do not get a moment of rest as they have to clean up all the messes our countess leaves behind. The most recent headache came when our countess infuriated the embassy of the chieftain Ganukab Gaye of Hatuke to such an extent that he threw a tantrum during his visit. Never have such insults been heard in our great halls. I don't even know where that is. I mean, I feel like it's somewhere over here, but based on the name of the territory, but I certainly could be wrong about that. Yep, charcoal kiln, of course. Okay, so we are up to 84% proximity and control. So, like, again, that is huge. wanted to build a road there, 79 would be the ducats it would cost. And not only obviously is that 84% huge for proximity and control, but also that took place very quickly. Like that, I mean, I almost feel like play it as a larger nation now, like essentially you just build roads right away. I mean, roads are always important, don't get me wrong, but if it's just gonna like take effect in like a month or two, then that feels like a reasonable response, right? Like just build roads. Now in Vasil, which currently does not have any roads, although its control is at 66%, coal 5 out of 10. Again, we still don't have any coal, so if I built a new coal building, 0.83 tax per level. Oh dear lord, they're building another tar. Okay, a tar kiln this time. It's not a coal kiln, it's a tar kiln. Or a charcoal kiln, I should say, not a coal, but like I get it. I don't think we have much tar. I mean, tar is especially needed for the building of ships and, you know, ship maintenance, among other things, but we also don't have any ships. Staying at 71%. Now, Navarre is an interesting place because Jean II Capet, her son, I believe this is going to end up being Charles the Bad. And that man broke promises and played sides like few people have. At least, you know, that's not entirely true. Like, a lot of people do that, but he made it in art form. He really, really did. So I do apologize for not having a lot going on in this episode. I mean, hopefully the fact that it's 3 times speed is kind of speeding it along a little bit. I'm debating whether or not I want to build the road or build another expansion of the coal, right? Because on the one hand, coal has a very good profitable return right now for a tax base. On the other hand, obviously, the road's going to improve even more. Well, actually, I think I just thought of it. The road should, in theory, improve the tax return even more from any buildings, right? Because the control, the proximity is going to go up. Oh, my dear lord, now we're building something else again. No, wait, no, that's it. That's a Burgundy. Yeah, so I was gonna start to freak out. That is the one thing that does drive me insane, though, is when, you know, they'll just, we'll build here, and we'll build here, and we'll build there. It's like, dude, chill out on building a billion places there. Again, I get that we're in a little bit of a competition. I get that you're trying to increase your own, power, control, and influence over the people. Totally on board with that. I understand. Same time, chill out a little bit. The Holy Roman Empire has added Castle Franco Vedito and Seneda. I mean, when we get the Casus Belli done on Lorraine, we'll take a look and we'll see if our allies will join with us or with them. If they do join with us, that might be we might get the war on Lorraine this episode. If they will side with Lorraine, then I do think we'll wait. The Countess's reputation has been tarnished. Some sort of propaganda text is circulated in the court about how Countess Jean Capet is a ruthless warmonger. This might affect her relations with her subjects in other countries. We'll get war. Right, we won't run from it. A warmonger, huh? I mean, there's no doubt, right? We have a bunch of spy networks. We have a couple of active Casus Belli being created. So you can understand it from that point of view. But we're not actually at war with anybody as of right now, so... We have advanced the peasant connections that gives us the following benefits. Cost of purchasing food, negative 10%. Our merchants have established connections to the rural settlements within and beyond our borders. As a result, they're able to secure better prices for food than would otherwise be expected. Negative 10% for the cost of food. We haven't been buying a lot of food so far this playthrough, but it's always good to bring that down just in case we start to. So back up to 54.82 ducats, making almost 4 a month as of right now anyway. %, done on humiliating the rival against Lorraine. 58.79% on St. Cloud, which again is just, it's very small, but it is allied with, well, Sion, which I don't. Lucian, it's down here, wheat. You know, a lot of other German states who might also be Swiss. Now, of course, if Burgundy joins on my side in the war, because obviously we're married and her son will rule both, then Lorraine is actually more open to the attack, right? Because Burgundy does have that massive army. Now, of course, even with that being said, it would still like Vinois to side with me. I don't know that they will, but that would be my hope. We have another son. His name is Robert. We have entered the age of the Renaissance. Society is affected by the Pax Magolica. Islamic golden age of the Renaissance in Europe are witnessing the emergence of a new era of knowledge, art, and innovation as a result of increased foreign interactions and the establishment of new institutions. We're gonna go for administrative focus, I suppose. We can claim the throne on Burgundy. The marriage of the union cannot last forever. Artois are no longer in our marriage union as a bond of marriage cannot last forever. Burgundy is no longer in our marriage union as a bond. So his father died, I guess. So this is interesting. He is heir to Fred. He is still our heir, though. Yeah, France would join. France would join on their side. So that's interesting, even though... Can I abdicate? Doesn't look like I can. Okay. That is kind of interesting. Yeah. Just January and February suck, man, economically. To be fair, there's not really any food production going on up here. I mean, does wool give off any food? Yeah, okay, plus 20 for working with wool, okay. So I guess wool does give off some food. Why is nobody working in here? Okay, they are. Because it's not profitable. Interesting. Okay. We are going to stop building a spy network in Masson, although we are going to work on creating a Casus Belli instead. It's really interesting that our economy took that big of a hit. Although I guess you could argue, since maybe it's because we're no longer in a union with Burgundy. I don't know if that really makes sense, but I suppose we could make that argument, right? No longer in an alliance with Burgundy, so therefore, we don't want to make as much money. I suppose so. I suppose I can understand the logic there. Terra Nova has been added to the Holy Roman Empire, as has Tempio and Posada. But again, without any minting, we're just not going to make any minting from that. I know we have inefficient minting, but we also don't have any market power or trade capacity to try to bring in gold or silver. Well, really, and Ferret we know doesn't like us very much. Now they have wine and fruit, right? So they're not really. big on, you know, minting. There is the copper up here, right? We know there's copper up there, which is nice. We can humiliate the rival Cassis Belli on Lorraine. Professional armies. Armies have existed since war was invented many thousands of years ago. However, their form has changed over the centuries, and different types of recruitment or organization developed in different cultures and periods. In the late Middle Ages, armies of many societies relied on levy systems with knights and footmen forming a corps that was levied seasonally. Some states, however, were powerful enough to finance standing armies staffed by professional soldiers who would be available for duty throughout the year. This system also developed in Europe after the outbreak of the Hundred Years' War, being one of the main changes that promoted a military revolution in the early modern age. Increasing the size and quantity of professional armies while finding new sources of revenue to finance them soon became one of the main challenges for the rulers around the world. Lisboa is where that appeared. Alright, so here is... Yep. Provence, Cologne, Lorraine, and Vinois all would fight against us. No. Nectal, we are going to decline the offer because we're about ready to attack you, essentially. Now, we can attack Burgundy, although we looked into that because France would protect them, and we definitely can't take France on. You know, that just kind of goes without saying, right? Or it should. Coal... No, it's staying steady. It's 5 out of 10 RGO, 0.83 tax base per level, 1.14 per output. Building cost will be 43.43. The Duke has been excommunicated, of Upper Bavaria has been excommunicated. Now see, this was just profitable a month ago, but now it's unprofitable again. The Bosnian independence movement. Now, that would be something I'd be interested in. I don't think we have the ability really to change it, though. And again, build that road. 80 ducats now. It used to be like 74 or something like that, but now it's up to 80. Okay. What I'm a little curious about is if when Robert comes of age, right, does that mean that Philippe and Robert are like, does Robert get French Comte and Philippe just takes the Duchy of Burgundy? That would be interesting. I mean, it still says that Philippe is our heir, but I'm just kind of curious about that. We are going to try to continue to improve our opinion with the Burgundians. Or, I mean, it's our son. Agnes de Chalon has died at the age of 52. She was a ruler's second cousin, courtier of the county of French Comte. She fell down a set of stairs. That's kind of a recurring thing sometimes. That is somewhat of a recurring theme at times. So we're at about 84%. Casus Belli here. And that's going to be our first war of expansion. And 3 little territories. At most, I mean, definitely here. After that, I don't know, but are you allied to anybody? Nektul. Okay, well, if we take Nektul, then that really becomes kind of a moot point, essentially. I mean, we did decide to build another coal expansion just because the 0.84 tax is just too good to pass up. Now, yes, without the control, we probably won't get all of that. And that is going to be our next building, is probably, building that road to try to increase the control. But just the opportunity to expand and have an option to get that kind of income was just something we could not pass up, right? So, claim the throne against Burgundy expires in 5 years, save with humiliating the rival. So basically, a Casus Belli lasts for 5 years. Trying to improve the opinion of the Burgundians. At some point, we'll probably, pull them back because, again, it is my son. She is now 34 years old, and of course, she does have Robert, who's an heir to Burgundy. Okay, so, yeah, because of the fact that he is unmarried and he has no children, the institution appears in Florence. The Renaissance itself, the wealthiest and most powerful citizens of the Italian city-states have been patronizing artists and scholars who are breathing new life into the classical ideals and aesthetics of their Greek and Roman forebears. As a cultural movement, the Renaissance has already had a profound impact on the literature, art, philosophy, and music of our region. Renaissance humanism has developed into a fully formed intellectual tradition ready to permeate all aspects of society. A true Renaissance humanist is an expert in everything from politics and philosophy to art, textual analysis, music, and architecture. New ideas for rulers, as well as those who are ruled, are spreading as quickly as printing presses can distribute the copies. Renaissance ideals are now poised to reshape the world according to those sophisticated classical principles. And that was in Florence. We have hit 4 ducats a month, which is awesome. I mean, again, it's not a lot, but we're a tiny nation. We're a county, really, and we're just trying to slowly, grow. Now, the question, of course, is do we wait until the spring of 1343, which at that point, undeniably, that war would take place in episode 3, right? Because I'm sure we're probably at about an hour anyways. The Black Death has to be coming relatively soon here in gameplay terms. We have 3 months remaining on the expanding of the coal mines. Unfortunately, we dip under 4 there. Still at 3.97, which isn't awful. What would that... A market village would increase peasants' power by 25%. Soldiers go up by 50. Trade advantage, trade capacity, market access. You know what? How much was it? 32. What if we wait till October? Wait. What? Wait. What? They're... Oh my god. These idiots. This is what I hate about it. I was having so much fun. I was really getting into the series. And this is the stupidity of the system as it is right now. I apologize. I am expanding the coal mines in Vesul. The nobility has decided they are going to expand the coal mines in Vesul. There is the people of Poligny despairs their families and neighbors sink out to the relentless outbreak of measles currently spreading throughout the area. Neighborhoods once bustling with activity now echo with worry and uncertainty. That's obviously not good. But equally not good is this. Why? Do we need that much coal? No. I'm already building it. There are not going to be workers for your expansion. Like, it just... Alright, so we can't destroy them. It is October. We're back up to 4 ducats a month. Again, I just... Benoit would not help me. Really. Why? They don't like me that much. Okay, well, we'll try to improve that. Border distance, they're in debt. Levy availability, -21. Target opinion, -43. And they lack a border. Okay. Well, you're kind of worthless as an ally then. Like, I don't mean to be mean, but seriously. But also seriously, why are they expanding the very thing that I'm expanding? That makes no sense. I'm sorry, like that doesn't even begin to make sense. It really, really doesn't. Like, I understand, right, get some more money, get some more influence. Fine. But to build it literally as I'm building mine. Okay. Comments say the people who are county have always been superstitious, and the appearance of a comet in the sky has caused panic among them. They're convinced that this is a sign that the end of times is near, or that something terrible is going to happen in the near future. Sure, we lose 7 stability. Well, you're right. The Black Death is coming. We already have the measles. So, technically, you are correct, people. That something bad is coming. Not to give you spoilers. You know, but... That is just... Again, having a lot of fun so far. But... Is there a way we can restrict that? We have now researched class 6, scholasticism, institution growth plus 20% based on Aristotelian logic of the writings of the early Christian fathers. Scholasticism aims to spread knowledge by emphasizing religious dogmatic beliefs and traditions. Like, is there a way we can... Traditional distribution, I don't feel like that's going to happen. Yeah. Nobility controls the mining. So, like, I can appreciate the fact that the nobility controls the mining. Like, I can appreciate it from that aspect. But at the same time, it's like, damn, dude. I had already built that. Why are you building it? We don't need that much coal. We definitely don't need 2 expansions done within a year. It's going to take 3 years to find these workers. So, what, it's 6 years? It's going to have enough workers? Is that what we're saying? I feel like that's what we're saying. And this is kind of my concern now, is the nobility is really starting to build more and more. Right, they built there, you know, in this episode, now they're building up here. That's 2 in this episode. It's just like, again, you're going to take up my workers. Unless you're going to tell me that their buildings don't require my workers and they can supply their own, which really wouldn't make any sense. And the more I think about the market village, yes, okay, it would give us trade capacity, but our trade range is only to Paris in the Parisian market, apparently. And I don't think the market village does anything for that. Trade advantage, trade capacity, market access. Yeah, it doesn't. Now, the market access is nice. That is definitely nice. But the more I think about it, the more I don't know if that's actually something I want to do. Is this war still going on? Seems like it. It's down to 65%. The English have found some men. Not very many men, but they found a few men. Alright, here comes the loss of money. 3, 2, 1. Yep. Yeah, we're in January. You lose money every January. And I mean, I understand, like, the game has to kind of take over and, you know, make its calculations and all of that. So I can appreciate it. Kind of like Me, You, and Taxes mod for EU4, right? I never really thought about it like that before. That's valid. That's valid. So I am trying to wait for the spring a little bit to declare war on St. Cloud here because, well, frankly, I like pretending, you know, it's the campaigning season. God, they built another one. I still can't believe they built another one. We really should get a surplus of coal out of that. I mean, I guess if there's good... Well, that, and they also built... Go away. The charcoal kiln. Because that also takes away lumber, right? And if we're... This is the 3rd expansion of the coal mine, so I don't think we needed that. I don't have a problem with them owning buildings in the country, but this is just gonna piss me off. Yep, February sucks even worse than January, apparently, according to the game. You're up to 385,000 pop, so yeah, we haven't ever tried to raise our army. Is Brittany independent? No. This looks like it grew a little bit, but maybe it didn't. All right, so once we get into March, we will go ahead and end the episode, but also at the very end of the episode, we will declare war on St. Cloud. And that'll be how we start episode 3. Still a little pissed about the coal mine, though. I can't lie. I cannot lie. That still pisses me off. Oh, we're all the way down to 1.98 in February. All right. I mean, February is better than it used to be. Better than it used to be, so be positive on that. What was that? I saw like a weird white outline. Was that like the historical kingdom of Burgundy? It was trying to show me there? Wasn't really paying attention. That's my fault. Okay, so it's March the 1st. We're going to go down here. The Abbey of St. Cloud, they have 500, 60, 800, 1,200, 1,600, about 2,100 men. So we have declared war, and on that note, on the 2nd of March, 1343, French Comte is at war against St. Cloud, Montbéliard, Sion, Noctul, and Lausanne. And that is, we will slow down to 2 times speed during the war. All of our levies are being raised. Not really sure what we have for military men in the country, but we will find out. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I will try to get better and better at this in the future, and until next time, I will talk to y'all later.